Answering the age-old question, do you need a press or squat pattern to maximize quad development? Let's talk about it. Or at least let's give you an idea of what side you should be picking. But to answer the question, we have to understand what muscles are making up the quads. If we look at the picture below, we can see that the quads are made up of 4 muscle bellies: vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, vastus intermedius, and rectus femoris. 3/4 of the muscle bellies originate on the femur, while one of the muscle bellies originates on the pelvis, but all 4 of the muscle bellies insert on a tibial tuberosity. So what does that mean? It means all 4 of the quad bellies are primary movers of leg extension, while 1/4 of the muscle bellies, rectus femoris, is also an assister movement of hip flexion. So how do we use that to our advantage? Well, let's compare a muscle that's very similar in the idea of it at a different limb: the triceps. A lot of people perform a close grip bench press or a JM press because the medial and lateral head of the triceps gives a better leverage compared to the long head because of antagonist inhibition. When you are pushing away the weight in a JM press, you are going to shoulder flexion and elbow extension, meaning the triceps are performing extension, but because of the long head originating on the shoulder blade while inserting on the ulna bone, is performing a flossing movement, and because of this is not being able to contract as well as it should. So therefore, the lateral and the medial heads are going to be the primary movers of the tricep exercise, at least compared to the long head of the triceps, because when you go into shoulder flexion, you are putting a stretch onto the long head, and while going into extension, you're contracting. So there's a constant flexion and extension propaganda. Now that we understand that, let's take a look at a leg press. You're going into a squat or leg press pattern. You're going to hip flexion and then leg flexion, and then going into leg extension and hip extension. So what does that mean for rectus femoris? Because it starts on the hip and inserts on the tibia, we know that when you go into a squat pattern, it's taking away leverage because of the same idea as the long head of the triceps. You're essentially flossing the muscle so it can't actually contract, meaning you're taking away leverage and putting it onto other muscles like the vastus muscles. And because of that, yes, it does take away leverage from some part of the quads. It puts more leverage onto other parts of the quads. As you can see the picture below, the quads is made up of 4 bellies, but the 3 bellies that are the biggest are all the vastus muscles. Rectus femoris is a very thin and long muscle. So while yes, you are taking away tension from part of the quads, you're putting more emphasis onto other parts of the quads. These parts of the quads that are getting more emphasis are larger than the rectus femoris, which is the muscle that's not going to be putting more leverage into this leg pattern, meaning you're going to be able to build bigger quads at the bigger parts of the leg. Well, yes, theoretically a leg extension is primarily good enough for a full quad development. If you put more isolation onto those smaller muscles, they're going to be able to grow better. The pictures I just put on the screen are a 1-year change. Very similar body weight. One I'm 182, the other I am 177. This 1 year I've done very minimal squat or leg presses. As you can see, my rectus femoris is significantly bigger, meaning it's gotten more stimulus because I've only been doing leg extensions for my quads. Yes, the lighting is different. Yes, the body fat is different. You can still completely tell which picture has the bigger rectus femoris compared to the other. So I put full emphasis on all 4 of the